Welcome back, guys. If you are just joining us, this is INX Prime Live. Remember, we are on your screens every single Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, it's important for us to see different industries grow in South Africa, but more specifically, the spaces of art, creativity, and fashion. Tonight, we are actually chatting to Thiren Maistry, who is actually the owner of Thaiger Branding Solutions. Now, they do massive, incredible work out in the space of clothing, where they do design custom clothing, but they also do many other types of services as well, including corporate services. Now, he did start this business quite a while ago in 2016, and we're actually going to chat to him right now. He is actually on the line with us. Thiren, thank you so much for joining us here on INX Prime Live.
Thanks, Zarif. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, we did start a way back.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for coming
it's
on
a
board.
long journey.
Yeah, I'm really excited to chat to you about this. So, let's just actually get into it at first. Let's just look at, I want to understand your background though. What made you fall in love with the concept of fashion and, creating your own clothing?
Okay, it actually began, well, my dad worked in the fashion industry all of his life. And my dad's dad was actually like the first Indian to sell sewing machines as a singer name. So it's like, lineage breakdown. And then, I started working in stores from the age of 16, as a casual person. I'm not going to shout out the stores' names because that's why we call snatch, because, we take the people from the stores down.
No, that's brilliant.
So,
it's a good journey, yeah.
Yeah, and then in 2016 it started whereas I started in sneakers, reselling sneakers, and then from 2018 to 2019 I started reselling vintage clothing from overseas that would come into South Africa, and all your hard-up collectors for the old stuff that was made in America back then, from the 90s and the early 2000s, people were hard up for that. And when the pandemic hit, the supply wasn't that consistent enough. So I was like, who else and who better it is, to reconstruct that idea of print it myself and recreate it.
No, that's brilliant. And that's probably how, obviously, this company came about. I just want to understand exactly Thaiger Branding Solutions. What are, the different services that you guys provide besides custom T-shirts? What else do you actually do?
The Thaiger, we turned from Thaiger sneakers into Thaiger vintage, and then from Thaiger vintage into Thaiger customs, right? And then the corporate market came into it, where we'd had companies message us and say, can you do volumes? Can you do staff wear and uniforms? And then we'd always say, yeah, we can do that. But they said it doesn't say much with the name. You're not providing a solution. So we had to break away from the one-on-ones, from Thaiger Customs to Thaiger Branding Solutions, and bring something new to the table. Because in South Africa now, every second person wants to start a business, And as a South African, all of us want to actually start wearing our own ideas and what we have in our head, because we're so fashion conscious, Yeah. At one point in time, we had all the manufacturers here in South Africa in the 90s. Yeah. So I think, bloodline with all of us and lineage, it grew up in us. We all have one brand or one logo that we stem towards, that we grew up with. We're like, I still like this and I still want to do this, but it's not out there anymore, but I rather bring it back in my own way.
Yeah, I like that. And I can see the creativity and the passion, coming out of your words as well. I just want to touch on competition in South Africa, and you spoke about it now. Every second person wants to start up a business. Every second person has an SMME. Unfortunately, we have a high unemployment rate in South Africa, very few corporate jobs, and a lot of ambitious people. So we do have a lot of entrepreneurs out here. In terms of competition, if we are looking at this space in that sense, what techniques and processes do you guys use as a company that sets you apart from everyone else?
Okay, so you probably look at it as, it takes time, it takes practice, it takes skill, same as graffiti or putting on a body kit on a car, Stay in your own lane, create your own lane, like we passionate because that's where we got our cartoon ideas from. And people love that, they're like, I want to put a golf one, but I want my golf one to be a little bit cartoonish, and put it on a t-shirt. And then that's where we came into the market. So we bring the whole 90s flavor because we grew up from that era, and we bring it to the new Gen Z generation because now they're relating to it. Before it was skinny jeans, and now the guys are wearing baggy jeans. The guys want to dress like it's the millennium all over again, you know? Yeah. So we do bring a creative side to it where it's very athletic. We think athletic. And I mean, passion speaks for itself. Quality at the end of the day is always what we try to strive for. In anything we put out there, you know, we always stick to the fact is you are what you wear. At the end of the day, people see your t-shirt or your sneakers before they actually look into your eyes now.
Very, very true. Very, very true. And I mean, also just looking at the space as well, you know, I think for me, the biggest thing I would say that most entrepreneurs struggle with, and what I've picked up from interviews as well, is that, you know, when it comes to creating a market that perhaps they were never in that much before. So you did mention, you know, you guys were into sneakers, customization, but you were speaking to a consumer market, people that you'd find on Instagram, social media, word of mouth. But corporate is a whole different ball game, right? And corporate has a lot of other red tape. It has a lot of different structures as well. How do you manage to create that balance between, you know, still covering the vision and the mandate of a corporate, which is so structured, but then also finding the balance of having your creativity come into the space while you're doing the branding solutions? Maybe you can share that balance, because I feel it to be quite a difficult thing.
That's a very good question, because in your corporate sector, everything is a little bit more professional and very blunt, straight to the point, where the logos are straight and they only want to use like one or two colors. And the only way we can actually climb into the corporate space, none of the corporate procurement teams actually use social media. So we can't get through to them over TikTok or Instagram or Facebook Marketplace. So we actually have to rely on a word of mouth, you know, where a friend knows a friend, an uncle knows a cousin, and they'd share the word, and then we'd have to offer them a sample, you know, courier to them, let them look at it, touch, feel, send quotes, try to beat the competitive pricing and show them. But I think with the competitive sector, it's actually good in a way, because sometimes they leave you to show off your talent and skill, where they'll be like, we had this logo for generations. Can you bring something new to the table? Because a whole lot of companies now, even the big companies, you know, like Celsi, are rebranding, you know. They're either changing a color or replacing the whole logo itself, you know, as we're moving forward to the new generation.
Oh, that's brilliant. And I mean,
so if you can bring that to the table, because a lot of teams are like, you have to be an all-rounder. You in any market, you need to know a little bit of everything in your department, where most of the companies are like, he does graphic design, he does printing, he does website design. You need to be able to actually touch all in one. So when you do have the company expand, you know who to hire and who's good at what, you know, because you dabbled and dabbled in that area too. So you know if they're good or not. And I mean, they need to treat it like your company when you expand. They need to have the same skill set and the same mindset, treat it as their own. Because at the end of the day, you're just going to be babysitting them.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. And I mean, I also just want to touch on some of the comments and questions coming in from social media. I mean, we have a question coming in from Hloni, and he was just saying that, you know, what is the most challenging project that you've ever worked on, or the most controversial project, and how did you manage to make it work?
Well, you know, in the beginning stages during the pandemic, you had a lot of time to practice. And there's no school as yet where you can really go to learn how to print and how to lay down a screen and different techniques. You have to make your mistakes. And you have to pay for those mistakes. So buying blank t-shirts, buying hoodies for you to mess up on ads, you know, and you don't go to sleep easy because you need to figure it out. It's very technical. So you think of ways, you search on TikTok and YouTube, and they haven't even come out with ways, you know, and you'd expect the elderly generation to pass on the same knowledge. And it just takes time. So like our breakfoot, or should we say our breakthrough into the market was this itself, because this was an A1 print, A2 to A1 print. So we had to actually slap the pages together and cross them over. And that you could only learn by practice, you know, over some time, to make sure there's no flaws, because your customer well, I can't even call them customers anymore. Most of my clients have become friends and family. We talk like me and you, Zarif, like for an hour or 2 hour, tell them about their design. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's more like you have to get on the piece of paper what your customer has in his head, you know, because there's a lot of back and forth, there's a lot of changes.
No, I love that. And I think it's so important that you are so passionate about what you do. You know, Thiren, I think you're definitely going to keep on, you know, growing and growing in this space. And you're definitely going to become someone who one day will hold a huge monopoly in this space. But again, thank you so much for sharing all of these insights with us.
Thanks
And a lot of our people out here, as well as our audience, are really excited to see you grow, but also to keep getting into contact with you so that maybe perhaps they can also get some pieces as well. But again, thank you so much for joining us here on INX Prime Live.
Thanks, Zarif.
You're most welcome, guys. That is Thiren Maistry, who actually owns Thaiger Branding Solutions now. They do incredible work. It looks really, really high quality and high class. And if you guys definitely want to get into contact with them, you can find them on social media platforms or perhaps their website as well. Now, on that note, we are going to take a quick ad break and then we'll come right back.